Welcome to Liturgical Shenanigans, a Wayfolk Arts podcast, with your hosts, Hannah,
Phil,
Jackson,
and Maddie.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back. We have returned for another episode of Liturgical Shenanigans.
Happy Shenanigan Wednesday. No. Happy
Liturgical
Wednesday.
Liturgical Wednesday.
and it's
Okay.
Lent.
That's
Wow.
Today's
it
Ash
is.
Wednesday?
No, it's not. But when this
people
goes
Oh,
out,
when this
listen to this,
Oh!
Yeah.
isn't that weird?
I'm in charge of the chapel that day. I have no idea what's going on.
Time.
do you hear
It's weird.
our scattered focus?
Weird soup.
Yes.
Yeah.
That means it's
It'll
the
be good.
anniversary.
For the conversation today.
What are we doing today?
Yes. Okay. So it is my, meaning Hannah's, turn to share with you the liturgy of the month. And the liturgy that I have picked for today is a blessing I wrote entitled A Blessing for an ADHDer. And before I read it, I'm trying to think of any context people that might be helpful.
What's an ADHDer?
Yeah. So an ADHDer is someone who has ADHD, which stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And I happen to be one of those people, which is a semi-recent diagnosis. I think it's been a little bit over a year that I've been diagnosed with that. And that's a whole story. But I wrote this because I think, I don't know, there's not a lot of liturgies specifically for neurodivergent folks. And I think that it's really easy for folks with ADHD to feel like that part of them is wrong or like they're a burden. So this was something I wanted to write for those moments when folks with ADHD might feel like that. So, yeah.
You can find this liturgy
Yes, thank
if
you,
you want.
Jackson.
We're about to hear Hannah read the liturgy to us, but you can also find it to read along yourself on the website and also on the Instagram account. If you kind of go back to, I meant to pull up when
November
this was.
1st, 2022.
Thank you. There it is. If you kind of scroll back, there's a real nice post about it, but you can also see it on the website in the liturgy of the month.
Mm-hmm. And the Instagram is Wayfolk Arts, not Liturgical Shenanigans.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
And the color of the post
yes.
is red and orange.
Yes. Which, I mean, is I chose on purpose. So, yes. Okay.
Oh, it wasn't because it's November colors?
Well, no. Okay. So actually, October is ADHD Awareness Month, and so many ADHD creators go, oh, we need to do something for ADHD Awareness Month, but no one ever starts thinking about that until it is October. So you get this beautiful smattering of posts and comics and things people have written in the middle of October, but the attention and focus on that only lasts for so long. So you don't get through a full month of posts about that. You get through a week or two, maybe. And I was like, well, it's November, but I could still post something. It's fine. This is what all of my other ADHD folks are doing. So whatever. It's partially in honor of ADHD Awareness Month and partially just because I wanted to write it. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, the orange is sort of connected to that, the color for October being ADHD Awareness Month. And the red of the post is the color that I associate with the chaotic energy in my body. which feels very connected to my ADHD. And random other story. So when I was younger, my bedroom at my parents' house, I decided to paint bright red. And people would always walk into my bedroom and say, "How can you sleep in here? It's way too much." And I always thought to myself,
It's my womb.
Your womb?
No,
That is not what I
that's
thought
not what
to
you thought.
myself.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
"It's not my womb."
Maybe
I
red.
like
Have you
that,
ever held a
but-
flashlight to your finger? I mean, like, I assume it's
true.
red in there.
It probably is. But
Sorry.
Could ask Izzy.
Let's ask
but-
Izzy.
yeah.
That's my baby.
Yes, Izzy is my context for our random comments. The red for me was so calming. It was like exactly the right sort of stimulation that I needed to feel calm. So when I got my ADHD diagnosis, that was one of the things that made me go, "Oh, I just needed more stimulation than other people needed." So the red also is a thing I associate with my ADHD because of that. So when you go and look at that post, the orange and the red are symbolic because I'm Hannah, I'm an Enneagram 4, and I like symbols. So
We love that about you.
yes. Okay, so as you prepare yourself to listen to this blessing, find a space in which you can be comfortable. That can be sitting, that can be standing. You can close your eyes if you want to, but I'm going to invite you to take a slow, deep breath in and slowly out. And whether this blessing is explicitly for you or not, receive these words as a gift. A blessing for an ADHDer. Blessed are you, the scattered. In the moments when you forget your appointments, deadlines, obligations, schedule, your keys, backpack, folder, purse, glasses, driver's license, lunch, keys, your thought mid-sentence. In the times when you can't stop your leg from bouncing, your fingers from fidgeting, your thoughts from jump, dash, pound, run, screeching. On the days when your limbs are like cannonballs exploding, when your thoughts are like 12 songs playing at the same time, when your words are like pop rocks, when your tongue is like a record skipping, when your skin wants more pressure or less pressure, but I can't tell you which one. Blessed are you, ADHDer, when you feel like too much, even for yourself. Blessed are you, the scattered, for you shall be gathered, found, settled gently, like glitter in a snow globe, a moment of calm, ready to dance and spin in the next storm.
This probably has nothing to do with anything, but it's interesting to me that you have spinning and dancing as different things. That's it. That's all my brain did. My brain went, spinning is dancing.
I love that.
Don't worry about it.
What was it like writing this blessing? You told a little bit of the story about like the time of the month and its connection to October and writing it in November. That's interesting. But also, what was it like to try to engage the sacredness of liturgy, as we mentioned in our last episode, and the kind of sacred claiming of liturgy for this space?
Yeah. writing this liturgy was simultaneously super hard and immensely easy. Because I wanted both to name some of the hard things that come along with ADHD, just to acknowledge them and name them, but then to offer the thing that I think ADHDers long for in those spaces, to be gathered rather than scattered, to be found, because so often you might feel like you're lost. And there's a lot in that last stanza. I say settled gently because I feel like a lot of folks with ADHD have been told that they're too much and they need to settle down. And it's sort of like why are you the way that you are? You need to stop. But to offer this image of settling gently, because your body has what it needs. And you don't have to feel like you're out of control. That doesn't mean you don't move, which is what I get to at the end of that stanza. But like that settledness being gentle rather than forced upon you, and like the moment of calm, ready to dance and spin in the next storm is kind of like having just a beat so that you can take a breath, so that you don't have to feel behind, you don't have to feel out of control. You can be ready to be who you are, which is a person who does move, who does dance, who does spin, but being ready to do that joyfully rather than feeling like you're doing that just because you're out of control.
Yeah, it doesn't end with for you will be fixed.
Right. No, because there's so many things I like about myself that I think I am who I am because of my ADHD. And there are some things that I need help functioning with to exist in the world that we live in. But also, I like my brain. I like how weird it is. And I don't want to change who I am. I like having tools, but I don't want to change who I am. And I don't want to insist that other ADHDers need to change who they are. Yeah, no.
Well, and in this, I hear you not advocating for change for the world, but for the self. And change is the wrong word, but just settledness for self, so that you can experience yourself more compassionately and fully and with love, instead of let me take this moment to settle because my teacher, mom, dad, friend can't handle me right now, and I want to be able to keep being in their group or classroom, so I have to. Versus I'm doing this because I want to be able to exist in my own body and experience these moments for me. Yeah.
It's almost like I think in this feels very similar to the last liturgy of the month that I did, but it's it hopes to be an invitation to step more fully into who you are and to claim the pieces of yourself, or just accept them. Like there's a big debate in the ADHD community about seeing ADHD as a superpower. because of ADHD, brains tend to be really creative. You see connections. You might see connections other people don't see, or it might be easier for you to find solutions or different options that might not come as easily to others. So a lot of people try to say, okay, well, we're going to turn ADHD into the superpower. But also, ADHD can ruin your life. ADHD is connected to things like addiction. There's often I'm forgetting the word. There's ADHDers tend to take riskier behaviors.
Or like grandiose.
Grandiose, but also like impulsivity. And like when you lose focus, things like car accidents are more frequent for folks with ADHD. And sometimes it can be hard to hold down a job if you don't have the tools you need to flourish in whatever job you're in. So ADHD can be really terrible. I do not remember where I was going with all this stuff, but there's
the superhero.
Oh, yes. Okay. So
Superpower.
I was sort of trying to this piece is trying to live in that tension of honoring the pieces of ADHD that are really hard, while also honoring that piece is part of you, and we can't change that. It's not, and I hope that you don't think it's a piece of you that needs to be cured. It's just part of your reality. So are there ways that we can honor and celebrate this piece of you? Yeah, that's what I was hoping to do with this piece.
I'm interested in what Maddie said about how you made the focus the blessing toward the ADHDer and not against the world or trying to change the world. And it made me curious if you would have any interest or ever consider writing a sort of like lament about the world we live in and how it is set up poorly for neurodivergent folks in general or ADHDers. And if you were, why you would subtitle it "Capitalism is the Devil."
What?
Phil, putting words in our mouths.
It's just a question. I'm just asking a question.
Yes.
There's a Taylor Swift song about that. Sorry.
I love it.
It's just a question.
Yeah.
It's just a question. Okay, whatever. Sorry, don't copyright that.
No, I love that idea. My brain wants to write it now, but I don't think
Let's do it on the podcast.
No.
Join us for the after show.
Right. No, I think that feels like this is the sort of thing that like I would love to do multiple pieces like this, or sort of on the theme of ADHD. And actually I sort of already have started doing that on the Instagram, because a couple weeks after writing this one, I wrote a Thanksgiving gratitude prayer that was sort of in the style of an ADHD brain, which kind of just churns and churns and churns and goes in random directions. So like it's a list of gratitudes, but it goes all over the place, and so many of the things don't seem connected if you're not in my brain. And I was like, this is literally how I would pray when I was little. So I'm gonna add that lament to like my list of pieces that need to be written now. Cool. I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna have to like go back and listen to this so that I remember.
And I didn't mean that as like a.
No.
The second part was teasy.
Yes.
But the first part was actually a question.
Yes.
Because I thought it was interesting that Maddie noticed that there was could be intentionally not doing that and like intentionally focusing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The self rather than the world. I think that's also just a tendency of Hannah to focus on relationship with self and learning to love and honor yourself and your own story. I think it takes an extra step for my brain to move out toward what's the relationship with the rest of the world, and what are those things that I don't know, like my brain doesn't have the thought yet. I will come back to it.
Well, because that makes sense not just for a Hannah brain to me, not to generalize, but like I'm curious about how that connects to how so many folks talk about ADHD or shame folks with less executive function, less ability to kind of like get the job done on time, in order, efficiently, as having flaws that are theirs, that you are the reason that, there's the not enoughness is from you. And so it makes sense to me that the framing would be flipping that to blessing, to enough-ness, to
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like if we imagine well, for me, like the journey of acceptance of my diagnosis was sort of a journey, and realizing that like my entire life I did have all of those self-blaming voices of like, why can't you turn things in on time? Why are you always late? If you just tried a little bit harder, you would be better, and people would think you're responsible. And so I feel like the first step towards healing and acceptance of the diagnosis is that internal work. And then maybe you can get to that next step of, okay, let's look at the relationship with the world, and let's have our eyes tuned, whatever. Or just learn how to see that the world isn't set up for neurodivergent brains, and move into lamenting that, and then hopefully move into what could we change, like use that turning ADHD brain to find a different way to do it. Yeah, but that feels like a secondary, or like the next step in the journey towards healing.
I've been taking too much, so maybe my last thing in this part is that's beautiful. And I also just think it's really cool that you put the name, it is Hannah, but that you name it ADHDer. This could have been another blessing for yourself.
That's true.
Or a prayer for myself, or that kind of thing. But you call it the ADHDer, which immediately invites not that other people weren't informed, but invites people to own that, to have that blessing be for them, to gather around a shared experience that doesn't necessarily, like you said, always exist in churchy spaces. And so it's just really beautiful to use the work you're doing and you've done to invite other people into that same healing is just really, really cool.
On that note, I wonder if you can share a little bit about, well, I guess it's a two-part question. How do you envision this being used? And how do you envision it being used, if at all, with people who, in a context led by people that don't have ADHD, or for someone that doesn't have ADHD, if at all?
Mm-hmm. I think I imagine the possibilities of it being used in a couple different ways. One would just be like in a book that is created for folks with ADHD, or a service created for so that it is the community sort of talking to itself. That doesn't need to be exclusive, but by an ADHDer for an ADHDer, or it's an ADHDer speaking the blessing over another ADHDer, or someone speaking a blessing over themselves as they go through their own healing journey.
I don't think that makes it exclusive. You're being inclusive to a group of people who are often excluded.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. But I think also, if you're like the parent or sibling or spouse of someone with ADHD, I can see a world in which it would be really powerful to hear, oh, look, I'm crying already. To hear these sorts of words from the people we are so terrified of disappointing or letting down, to have those people see and name those things that are hard, but then to also say sort of this promise that doesn't, explicitly say you are loved and you're enough or you're not too much at the end, but it imagines the last images are trying to imagine a world where those things can be possible and our relationships with the people around us are whole and not broken and not impacted negatively by our ADHD, which I like. I don't think that is possible with the world the way it is now, and like ADHDers hurt other ADHDers with some of our symptoms. I have family members who have ADHD, and the way that they show up in the world hurts sometimes. But still, to have people who love you, who your relationship with them has been impacted by your ADHD, speak such a blessing over you. Like that just feels so lovely to me. So that's another way that I imagine that.
I think it's totally appropriate that you're crying in this episode. I'm also shocked. This is the first time in this podcast that you've cried.
Is that true?
No.
It's not?
Surely
Can't
not.
be true.
No.
I think it is true because I always notice when you do because emotions are hard for me.
Yes, that's fair.
They're not too much,
No, but they are.
but I
hopefully,
notice when they happen.
Yes.
Did it not happen in your prayer for myself episode?
I don't
think
remember.
it did.
That was a long time
That
ago.
was a while ago, yeah.
So listeners, could
We
you go down in
learned.
the comments and
Yeah.
let us
Tell
know?
us.
Anyway, go back. and
Well,
listen
and we
to it
recently
again.
learned that I am very attuned to Hannah's life.
That's true. That's fair. If
If she cried, I would know.
that's fair.
Yeah.
It makes sense though. That's beautiful.
Well, and thank you for sharing this liturgy and writing it. One, because it was very vulnerable of you, and intimate of you to share it, not just with us, but with the Wayfolk Arts community, and it obviously had an impact on a good amount of people
That's true.
on social media.
Yeah.
So thank you for your words, and I hope that people that find resonance with it because they are fellow ADHDers or they have a spouse, friend, child, family member of some kind that is a fellow ADHDer can use it well to see or be seen.
Or even if it's someone who doesn't know anyone with ADHD, which is wrong.
Yeah.
You do. You might not know
Yeah.
you do, but you do. Maybe looks around and notices there's another kind of person in the world.
Yes. That not everything has to fit into a shiny, predictable box.
Yeah.
Can you read it for us one more time?
Yes. A blessing for an ADHDer. Blessed are you, the scattered. In the moments when you forget your appointments, deadlines, obligations, schedule, your keys, backpack, folder, purse, glasses, driver's license, lunch, keys, your thought mid-sentence. in the times when you can't stop your leg from bouncing, your fingers from fidgeting, your thoughts from jump, dash, pound, run, screeching. On the days when your limbs are like cannonballs exploding, when your thoughts are like 12 songs playing at the same time, when your words are like pop rocks, when your tongue is like a record skipping, when your skin wants more pressure or less pressure, but it can't tell you which one. Blessed are you, ADHDer, when you feel like too much, even for yourself. Blessed are you, the scattered, for you shall be gathered, found, settled gently, like glitter in a snow globe, a moment of calm, but ready to dance and spin in the next storm.
Thank you for tuning in to this conversation on Liturgical Shenanigans. If you enjoyed this conversation, please share it around to other people who you think might enjoy it as well. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the places. You can find us at the username Wayfolk Arts. And if you're looking for a way to get involved with the show a little bit more, as we said in the episode, head on over to patreon.com/wayfolkarts, where you get to hear more of the show and get access to a bunch of other patron-only posts and things like that. Thank you all for tuning in. It was a delight to spend some time with you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.